If you're over 60 and often ask people to repeat themselves, don't ignore it. This may not be just hearing loss. It could be affecting your memory and brain health. Let's break down every type of hearing loss in a simple way so you can understand what's really happening.
Mild hearing loss. This is the earliest stage where a person struggles to hear soft speech or conversations in noisy places like restaurants or family gatherings. Research shows that even mild, untreated hearing loss doubles the risk of developing dementia compared to those with normal hearing. The brain begins to work harder to process sound, pulling resources away from memory and thinking. Over years, this extra effort may contribute to cognitive decline. A senior named Margaret, 72, noticed she often asked her grandchildren to repeat themselves. She stopped joining book club because she couldn't follow the discussion. Inside, she thought, maybe I'm just getting forgetful. It's easier to stay home. That quiet withdrawal was her brain beginning to lose the rich social input that keeps it healthy. Moderate hearing loss. At this level, a person misses most normal conversation without a hearing aid. Studies indicate that moderate, untreated hearing loss triples the risk of dementia. The brain receives a degraded sound signal, forcing it to guess missing information. This constant guessing and filling in gaps exhausts neural circuits, potentially accelerating brain aging. Think of Robert, 78, who used to love playing cards with friends. Now he mishears bids and gets frustrated. He started skipping game nights, telling himself, "They talk too fast, I just can't keep up anymore." Inside, he felt ashamed. That shame led to isolation, and isolation starved his brain of the lively chatter that once kept him sharp.
Severe hearing loss. People with severe hearing loss cannot hear even loud speech or everyday sounds like doorbells or phone rings. The dementia risk increases 5-fold compared to peers with normal hearing. With so little sound input, parts of the brain responsible for auditory processing begin to shrink. This atrophy can spread to regions involved in memory, such as the temporal lobe and hippocampus. Eleanor, 85, has worn hearing aids for years but rarely uses them because they feel uncomfortable. Her daughter recently found the television volume at maximum, and Eleanor still couldn't follow the news. Eleanor's private thought, "It doesn't matter anyway. No one talks to me anymore." That sense of irrelevance is both a symptom and a cause of cognitive decline. Sensory neural hearing loss. This type results from damage to the inner ear or the auditory nerve, most commonly from aging or noise exposure. It is permanent and affects sound clarity, not just volume. The brain receives distorted information, making it harder to recognize words. This poor signal quality forces the brain to recruit areas normally used for higher-level thinking, creating a cognitive overload that may mask early dementia symptoms. A senior might think, "I hear you talking, but the words sound mushy." Over time, the brain's language centers get less practice, and word finding becomes difficult, often mistaken for early Alzheimer's. Sensory neural hearing loss. This type results from damage to the inner ear or the auditory nerve, most commonly from aging or noise exposure. It is permanent and affects sound clarity, not just volume. The brain receives distorted information, making it harder to recognize words. This poor signal quality forces the brain to recruit areas normally used for higher-level thinking, creating a cognitive overload that may mask early dementia symptoms. A senior might think, "I hear you talking, but the words sound mushy." Over time, the brain's language centers get less practice, and word finding becomes difficult, often mistaken for early Alzheimer's. Conductive hearing loss. Caused by blockages or damage in the outer or middle ear, such as earwax, fluid, or a perforated eardrum. Unlike sensory neural loss, it is often treatable. When left untreated, the reduced sound input still increases dementia risk, though usually less than inner ear damage. Treating the underlying cause can restore hearing and potentially lower risk. James, 80, had untreated ear infections for years because he thought they'd clear up.
When a doctor finally removed impacted wax, James cried. He hadn't heard his wife's whisper in a decade. His thought was, "Why did I wait so long?" He realized that his fogginess had been largely from not hearing, not from losing his mind. Social isolation pathway. Hearing loss makes conversations exhausting and embarrassing. Many older adults withdraw from social events, family gatherings, and group activities. Chronic loneliness and lack of social engagement are themselves strong risk factors for dementia. The brain deprived of stimulating conversation and emotional connection loses plasticity and may decline faster. A senior's inner monologue, "It's just too much work to go to the senior center. I'll stay home and watch TV." But TV does not challenge the brain the way real back-and-forth conversation does. The brain slowly becomes less resilient.
Cognitive load pathway. When the brain strains to hear, it uses up working memory and attention that should be available for understanding and remembering. A person with hearing loss may appear confused or forgetful, but the real problem is the effort of listening. Over years, this constant high cognitive load wears down neural reserves, making dementia more likely to appear earlier. Imagine trying to solve a math problem while someone shouts garbled numbers in your ear. That is daily life for an older adult with untreated loss. They often think, "I'm so tired after family dinner, I can't remember what anyone said." The exhaustion is real, and it masks the early signs of dementia. Brain structure changes. Imaging studies show that people with untreated hearing loss have accelerated shrinkage of the brain's gray matter, particularly in the auditory cortex and frontal lobes. This loss of brain volume is similar to what is seen in early Alzheimer's disease. Hearing aids may slow this shrinkage by restoring sound input and keeping auditory pathways active. A senior might not feel this shrinking, but they notice they take longer to respond, have trouble finding words, and feel slower. Their private fear, "I think I'm losing it." In truth, their brain is starving for sound.
Increased falls and head trauma. Hearing loss impairs spatial awareness and balance, leading to more falls. A serious fall can cause traumatic brain injury, which is a known risk factor for dementia. This indirect pathway means that even mild hearing loss can lead to dementia through repeated head impacts or a single severe injury. Helen, 82, fell twice last year, once in the bathroom, once in the garden. She thought it was just clumsiness, but her inner ear damage affected her balance. After the second fall, she hit her head. 6 months later, her family noticed memory problems. Helen's quiet thought, "I'm just getting old." She never connected the falls to her hearing or her hearing to her confusion. Reversible risk factor. Unlike many dementia risk factors, hearing loss is modifiable. Treating it with hearing aids, cochlear implants, or assistive devices can reduce the excess risk. Studies show that older adults who get hearing aids have rates of cognitive decline similar to those with normal hearing. This makes hearing loss the single most important preventable cause of dementia in later life. A senior who finally gets hearing aids often says, "I feel like I woke up. I can hear my granddaughter's laughter again." That joy is not just emotional, it is brain protection. The investment in hearing health is an investment in thinking clearly for years to come. Let me know in the comments, do you ever ask people to repeat themselves or turn the TV louder? You're not alone, and your experience can help others too. Subscribe for simple health tips that help you protect your health and stay independent.